And the ball with a lot of action on it. And a little Don Carter in.
Look at the style of Mark Fay. Good push away, very short swing. Look at those powerful arms. Just cups that ball almost like he didn't even have his hand in it. Cuts it loose. Good extension. You really can't throw him any better than that. He just ripped the rack wide open. It's all even through one frame.
There was a high hit, and he now will have to knock down the 3, 6-10 on the left lane. Mark Fay.
Once again, the left-hand lane hooking a little bit more than the right-hand lane. Fay plays the shot very similar to the right-hand lane that ripped the rack open, but you see the ball biting a little early, cuts right through the 3, 6, 10. Fay across lane, a little extra speed, needs this spare.
All right. Lots of power, lots of speed on that ball. Skidmore is up. The winner of this match will meet lefty Steve Cook. The winner of that semifinal game will go on against Mark Roth.
Skidmore in the 10th frame finishing out his match against Chamberlain. Just labeled 3 shots as pretty as you could be. He's really zeroed in.
The ohs and ahs and moans tell the story.
Well, he just completely lost that shot. Look at this low trajectory. Now the ball should start biting right here, and Skidmore just threw it too hard, too wide, leaves the 1-2-8 washout, and that is not a split, Chris. Remember, when the head pin's standing, it's not a split. Or our bowling tip of the week this week shows some common pocket splits. So Skidmore going for the spare, needs to drive the head pin into the 10 pin.
We've seen a conversion on a 310 in the first match by Bob Chamberlain, and now we see a much more difficult one. Watch it.
What a dandy shot. Watch this head pin straight into the 10 pin. No sideboard action. A perfect replay. Hit it right in the crown. Excellent shot. Skidmore's all even in the match.
Third time that he's been on our telecast this year. Pair of seconds.
2 other players have had 3 championship rounds, Wayne Webb and Bob Hanley.
Webb this week finishing 69th as Skidmore leaves the 4-7 on the left lane.
Here's a great shot. Now you can see the line he's playing, his good arm swing and everything. Look at him playing towards the inside line. There's the ball right over between the 2nd and 3rd arrows, and the ball goes just a little high on that shot.
All right. And Nelson, that shot from the pins back to the bowler really gives you the feeling of the loneliness of this sport. You're out there all by yourself, watched by hundreds here and millions on television.
No timeouts, no coaches, no bullpen. You either do it yourself or get out, much like boxing, like this young man was in.
Mark Fay of Chicago, who has had as his idol Mark Roth. He'd like to win this because if he can win 2 games, he could meet Mark Roth in the finals, because Mark, winner of 28 titles, is our tournament leader, and he's always a pleasure to watch. But in between is big Steve Cook.
You heard Mark Fay's right foot hit that ball return rack, Chris, and that was the demise or the downfall of Bob Chamberlain. His foot hit that rack and it threw him off, and actually it shouldn't. Now watch this replay. Watch his right foot. Here it comes. He's pivoted step, sliding with his left. Watch the right foot. Now you see that the right foot actually hit the ball return at the exact same time that the ball was released. Now if you hit it a little beforehand, it throws the shot way off. It's just another thing that the pro bowlers have to contend with on the tour.
Pocket hit by Mark Fay of Chicago, Illinois, who won his only championship last year, looking for his 2nd today. He has a 1-pin lead. We're at the King Louie Open in Overland Park, Kansas. We'll be back.
Raise your hand. You got it. Raise your hand. You know it. You feel confident, secure. Raise your hand. You feel dry now. Raise your hand. You know why now. Raise your hand if you're sure.
You've got it. That sure, secure, confident feeling. Because each Sure gives you enough protection to help feel dry all day.
Confident, confident, dry and secure. Raise your hand, if you're sure.
Suddenly, the pain stops. Chloroseptic for painful sore throats.
My throat feels much, much better.
Suddenly, the pain stops.
Boy, that's quick relief.
Suddenly, the pain stops. People are discovering Chloroseptic. Doctors and pharmacists recommend it more than any other brand.
That works really good.
Chloroseptic for painful sore throats. Suddenly, the pain stops.
Next Saturday, the Professional Bowlers Tour returns to Chicago for the $200,000 BPAA U.S. Open, the second leg of bowling's Triple Crown. Last year, Gary Dickinson regained his winning form in a thrilling victory there. Join us next Saturday, live on ABC Sports.
Yes, next week, second jewel of the Triple Crown, the United States Open in the Chicago suburb of Oak Lawn. Then, Mark Fay, who's bowling in this game we've been watching, will defend his championship in the Miller High Life Open in Milwaukee. Fairlanes Open in the Washington, D.C. area, followed by the Long Island Open in Garden City, Long Island. From Albuquerque, New Mexico, far removed from the next two sites, Gary Skidmore, who is trailing by 1 pin. Now he has a spare up in the third, shooting in the fourth.
Four-step delivery. Watch the little stutter step to get going. See him rock? Now here comes the four-step.
The minute he released it, he knew it was coming up, would come up too high, leaving the 610.
Got a good break. He did not have the speed we have seen him have on this lane before. He cuts right through the heart, and the 2, 4, 7 all get pushed down. Across lane for the 610. Just have to avoid the chop, keep the speed up, and don't hook the ball. A little fade shot or little backup works the best. And there it is.
All right. The music major at New Mexico State. Asked him when he last did a performance with that baritone voice, and he said at a friend's wedding a few years ago, if you can't practice, you can't be good. And it's always good to come back to Kansas City, Bo, because this is where Count Basie started. Lester Young, Charlie the Bird Parker. Currently living here is a great pianist named Jay McShann. Talk about jazz. That's it.
You must have been watching the Grammy Awards, partner.
I listen a lot.
Fay just put a piece of tape in his ball. Apparently he was losing it. Your hand has a tendency to shrink as you bowl more and more games.
All right. Big, powerful strike. We're in our second match. Mark Fay bowling Gary Skidmore. Skidmore won the first game over Bob Chamberlain, 238 to 206. Skidmore had 9 strikes in that match. Fay with 3-pin lead, strike up. He can increase it to 13. A 10-pin.
What a tough break. He could have really put in the clamps to Skidmore in that position. He led by 3, Chris, and he drives the ball solid in the pocket. Could have taken a 13-pin lead. Now he has that same across lane spare where his foot hits the ball return rack. Let's see how he takes the shot.
He really hit it that time. And he hit it on his first ball in that frame as well. Mark Fay. It's a game of marginal thoughts. You can't let too many of them in or in. Meanwhile, practicing Steve Cook and Mark Roth. What do they think about when they're practicing for the matches coming up, Bo?
Well, Chris, you have to remember that the practice pair of lanes is not getting as much use, so you have to not try to strike on the practice lane. Stay tuned in for the championship pair. That means keep your speed up.
All right, 4, 6, 7, 10.
And what a turnaround in the match. Look at this shot. Now watch him. He sticks at the foul line just as he's coming through. He drives through with his left. See his shoulders get forward. The follow through go out to the right. Cuts right through the heart. 4, 6, 7, 10. He's going quickly.
All right, open frame. And that's what led to Bob Chamberlain's downfall in the first match, as he was defeated by Gary Skidmore, 238 to 206.
Gary Skidmore wasn't even going to bowl this tournament, Chris, and his motorhome had broken down. He needed some work on it, and then he decided to go do a charity event in Wichita for big brothers and little sisters. And he says, well, I'll go for charity, and he decided to come on down to the King Louie Open, and here he is with a chance to win the championship if he can win just 3 more games.
That's why these players remain on tour. They make an error, but they come right back.
Skidmore really jumped on that open of Mark Fay's. Fay had actually bowled a superior game through 5 frames, had not much to show for it, but a 3-pin lead, left that solid 10 in the 5th, then got the big open frame in the 6th. Skidmore came up, jumped on it, 23-pin lead, can extend to 33 with another strike.
Skidmore, who had the opening and took advantage of it. 3 in a row, jumping out to a 33-pin lead. Skidmore over Mark Fay. More of our second match will continue, but first, we're going to take this pause for word from one of our sponsors.
The last time you bought paint, you may have gotten a good price. But did you get a good paint? Well, now, during Glidden's anniversary sale, you can get a good paint and a good price. Famous Spread Satin, America's first latex wall paint, is just $9.99 a gallon. $9.99 for Spread Satin. Now you have a better reason to buy paint than just a low price, right? Glidden. We keep our promises in the can.
I was on the road with 3 more sales calls to make. And it sure was a bad time for my muffler to go out. My old muffler was from Midas, so I found a Midas shop in the next town and showed them my guarantee. I'm in kind of a hurry. They honored it with no hassle and got the job done fast. When you count on your car like I do, it's great to be able to count on Midas.
Trust the Midas touch.
Dorothy Hamill, Robin Cousins, Ty Babylonia and Randy Gardner, and many more. The International Professional Figure Skating Championship on ABC's Wide World of Sports. Next.
That's right, next team competition, international figure skating with great names like Curry and Hamill and Starbuck and Shelley. The back of Big Steve Cook of Roseville, California. He will meet the winner of the Mark Fay, Gary Skidmore match, the semifinal match coming up. Fay now an open frame in the 6th, trailing by 33, shooting in the 7th. Four-pin.
Mark Fay has been around the pocket every ball except the 6th frame, and here he cuts through, leaving the 4-pin. The 2-pin goes to the sideboard, doesn't get between the 4 and 7. Naturally, he gets an easy spare, the 4-pin to shoot. Fay trailing by 33, has to get cooking right here near the end.
Just did. Nick, the 4-pin on the right lane. Skidmore won the first match. 238 to 206. Bob Chamberlain, the loser. Now it's Mark Fay.
Fay not taking much time at all, Chris. I'm not a proponent of slow bowling, but when you're going as quickly as he is and you're trailing, you need to slow down and gather your thoughts. Very important frames coming up. He trails by 33, 8th frame.
Leaving the 6-10, and again, working on the surface at the line as though he had stuck some.
You know what it could be, Chris, and I've seen it before. Mark Fay perspires quite a bit, and some perspiration may have come off his forehead, and he's sticking in his own perspiration. I've seen that a few other times as Fay goes very quickly again. And the only thing you can do is just try to rub it out with your foot. Now, it wouldn't affect Gary Skidmore because Skidmore does not slide in the exact same place that Mark Fay slides, so very important that Fay get his footwork down just right there, right at the foul line. You can't really tell exactly where it is, but you have to avoid it. Skidmore, with really the tomahawk in his hand, Chris, can take a 45-pin lead.
And he left the 4-pin. The man with a very smooth tempo.
Exact same shot that Mark Fay had in the 7th frame. 2-pin goes to sideboard, doesn't get between the 4-7. And the reason it doesn't always carry out the 4-7 is simply this, that when one round object hits another round object, they don't react exactly the same every time.
Skidmore of Albuquerque. A little bit of a look-alike since we're in the Kansas City area, which is the home of Tom Watson. And they do resemble each other a little bit. They have the same type of tempo. And now Harry Smith is being asked about a re-rack.
The reason Harry Smith is out there is that each player is allowed 3 re-racks on request. Once they get to the 4th re-rack, they must get the tournament director's decision for another re-rack, and Skidmore had taken 3 up to that point. This is his 4th. Leads by 34 pins, 9th frame.
Powerful strike. Woo.
If he had known he's going to throw it there, it wouldn't have made any difference where those pins were sitting.
No.
He's got Fay on the ropes. Fay must strike out to even have a chance.
That's one.
As the 10th frame comes up for Mark Fay, he has a possible 2:01, and he needs all of it. Skidmore going at a 2:15 pace. The situation for Fay is the same as it was for Chamberlain. He must strike on this ball and the next ball to even have a chance. He's still in it.
And seemingly has loosened up a little bit. He's a very loose guy anyway, but the last 2 shots, looser and professional.
He still needs this strike here. If he strikes here, he forces Skidmore to get a good count in the 10th frame.
Look at that. Like Bob Chamberlain finishing, stringing the strikes at the very end.
Skidmore looking at the scoreboard off to his right. And if Fay strikes on this ball, Mark will have finished with a very strong 2:01. He had a few bad breaks in the middle of the match, but it will force Skidmore to get 9 pins and 2 balls to win.
How about that? 4 in a row at the very end by Mark Fay of Chicago, where we'll be televising from next week the United States Open with a 2:01. And now, faced with a similar problem in his first victory against Bob Chamberlain, he needed 9 pins on 2 balls to win. Timber. These are great bowling fans in the Kansas City area.
A capricious strike, to say the least. The head pin went to the sideboard and took out the all 2-4-5, and Skidmore's going on to meet Steve Cook, Chris, as we come back to the next match.
Flip through True Value Hardware Store's Hardware Week circular for a variety of special values, like a durable True Value 32-gallon trash can for just $8.88, and a versatile 3-piece True Test Oriel brush set, only $2.66. Get this 6-piece standard or metric wrench set for just $5.79, and the Snap-It 3-wire Decor plug for only $1.99. They're all featured in the Hardware Week circular and at participating True Value Hardware stores and home centers.
Don't you wish everything fit like Lee? Fit like Lee jeans do. Don't you wish everything fit as well as Lee jeans fit on you? Don't you wish everything felt as good? Don't you wish everything only could? Don't you wish everything fit?
Lee, the brand that fits.
Oh, no. I'm gonna flunk my exam.
Something wrong, Tom?
My calculator. Dead batteries.
Here, borrow mine. I use Duracell batteries. They last longer.
Tests prove after a few hours regular carbon batteries wear out, but Duracell keeps going strong. Duracell lasts longer.
Time's up.
Give Duracell an A+.
Duracell. The copper top battery. No regular battery looks like it.
Or lasts like it.
Soar with Academy Award winner Sally Field when she takes to the air ballooning over Tanzania, a wildlife safari that will take you sky high. The Emmy Award-winning American Sportsman. And the USFL has record crowds going wild. Division leaders battle it out when league MVP Kelvin Bryant in Philadelphia take on Herschel Walker in the Generals. Or Bobby Hebert, Anthony Carter and the defending league champion Michigan Panthers clash with the Denver Gold. Turn on the action tomorrow with ABC Sports.
All right, 2 matches here in Overland Park, Kansas. 2 victories for Gary Skidmore, a total of 15 strikes. His last win over Mark Fay, 223 to 201. So now he meets the left-hander from Roseville, California, Steve Cook. Before we get to our semifinal match, it's time for that Rolaids Tip of the Week with Nelson Burton Jr. Common pocket splits is the subject today. It's a tip that's going to help your score. Watch and listen.
The Professional Bowler's Tip of the Week is brought to you by Rolaids.
Today's bowling tip of the week is going to show you how to convert the 2 most common pocket splits. The 5-7, where the ball doesn't quite finish, and the 4-9, where you had too much power and get a bad break. First, the 5-7. From your original strike position on the approach, move 4 boards to the left and roll over the same strike target. And now for the 4-9. You should be happy because you're rolling the ball very effectively and it's hitting the pins very powerfully, but you still have a difficult split. To make this, you move 17 boards to the right on the approach, not the left, to the right, and then roll the ball over your same strike target. Remember today's bowling tip of the week to increase your average. For the 5-7 split, move 4 boards to the left on the approach and use the same strike target. And for the powerful 4-9 split, move 17 boards to the right on the approach and use the same strike target.
Hey, Tommy Lasorda, how do you spell relief?
Roger, I love to eat, but I don't always manage my stomach right. For heartburn, I spell relief R-O-L-A-I-D-S.
Wherever I am, for heartburn, it's R-O-L-A-I-D-S.
Rolaids really does spell relief.
Like a sponge, Rolaids antacid medicine consumes 100% of the acid required to give millions 100% relief.
With that batting average, it's R-O-L-A-I-D-S.
For millions of Americans, Rolaids spells 100% relief.
Frank Gifford, ABC Sports Control in New York, will be returning for the Pro Bowlers Tour in just a moment. First of all, ABC News projects Senator Gary Hart of Colorado, the winner by a wide margin over Walter Mondale in the Wyoming caucus. Repeating, Gary Hart wins the Wyoming caucus by a wide margin. Details on the ABC News Weekend Report later this evening. College basketball this afternoon in the ACC semifinals. Duke upset #1 North Carolina 77-75 with a lot of help from 4 free throws by David Henderson in the last 42 seconds. Last Saturday, you might recall, Duke took the Tar Heels into double overtime before losing. In other action today, Memphis State captured the Metro Conference title with a 78-65 win over Virginia Tech. And in the SEC final, #3 ranked Kentucky defeated Auburn 51-49 on a last-second shot by Kenny Walker. And a program reminder, coming up immediately following the Pro Bowlers Tour, the International Professional Figure Skating Championship from Madison Square Garden here in New York. Let's return to the Pro Bowlers Tour and Chris Schenkel.
Thank you, Frank. Steve Cook of your native state, California, Frank, is now coming in against Gary Skidmore. And Duke over North Carolina, and you know, Nelson, many of our ABC sports executives and production personnel graduated from Duke. So their season is made with that upset.
I believe you. In fact, we were talking about it at dinner last night, and Associate Director Kim Belton said, look out for Duke. He was right.
And Steve Cook from the port side leaves the 7-pin. When I say big, 6'7", 260 pounds.
The big guy with the powerful ball playing the extreme outside line. Tremendous shot, drives the 4-pin right over the top of the 7. And Chris, he has the same problem that the right-handers have on the right-hand lane. When he goes across for the 7, he'll kick that ball return rack. Let's see what happens.
Oh, he did that with confidence.
His foot went right over the top.
Whoa.
There's an advantage. We'd always said, his wife Candy looks on, there's a disadvantage of being real tall in bowling. 6'7", Steve Cook's foot cleared the ball return back on that shot.
Never a hurdler, but as a youngster, an archer. And here's the singer, Gary Skidmore. Skidmore averaging 230 in his 2 victories. Comes up with, well, it's not for the faint-hearted.
The old love tap. Watch the 6-pin lay in the channel. It sits there and lays there. It's going to kick up. Watch the head. These are 3-pound, 7-ounce pins we're using. A little heavier every week on the Pro Bowlers Tour. 3-pound 7s. Skidmore just had enough on the ball to drive the 10 out. He's got a chance to take an early lead.
He crossed over. Well, he's had 2 disbeliefs. Oh, boy. That's what makes a lot of people come back each week for bowling all over the country. Millions that do it for fun.
He missed so far that he got a good break. It's like knocking it across the trees and over into the next fairway. See how Steve Cook reacts to those good breaks that Skidmore's had so far in the match.
And the man that was on our television finals 7 times last year, winning 1, has been a PBA member for 7 years.
The powerful ball. Look at that tremendous break in the last 10 feet. The ball drives right through. The 4 takes out the 7. And Chris, as you and I well remember, 1981, I think he bowled the greatest game I've ever seen in a championship round when he took the Firestone, starting with 10 in a row and shooting a 287. So when Cookie gets cooking, he's tough.
Beating Pete Couture, 287 to 183. Look at that size. We've had magic at the other end 3 times, and this is the semifinal match.
Cook with that outside line, and he's just proving that there's reciprocity in the game of bowling as he goes right through the heart of the pins, trips out the 4, 6, 7, 10, and as he's sitting on the bench, he says that makes up for the solid 7 I left in the first frame.
This man opened with the double, now shooting in the 3rd. He has a turkey. Gary Skidmore averaging 230 in his 2 wins, 238 to 206 over Bob Chamberlain in the first, and 223 to 201 over Mark Fay in the second. Fay picking up a check for $6,000. Re-rack.
Gary Skidmore with a chance to extend his lead to 30 pins.
You see that he could become the leading money winner over Wayne Webb with a victory today, which is worth $20,000. But he may even do a little better down the road with 4 in a row. Gary Skidmore of Albuquerque. More about him after this.
Nissan explodes interest rates on trucks. Now get low 8.8 annual percentage rate on any new Nissan truck. 8.8%. You can save up to $600 on Nissan's lowest sticker price truck, up to $1,200 depending on the model and options. 8.8% is the lowest factory-sponsored truck financing around, but it won't be around long. 8.8%. Major savings on major motion. From Nissan, only at your Datsun dealer.
Now you owe me $4 million, Dad. $3 million. Want to go double or nothing? Bet you my deodorant's stronger than yours.
Oh, you'll lose. My deodorant's Old Spice.
And mine's new improved Old Spice.
New improved Old Spice with 25% more odor fighters. Extra strong and lasts all day long. Helps keep you smelling fresh long into the night.
Hey, you're right. That new Old Spice is still working.
New improved Old Spice. Extra strong. Lasts long.
Old Spice, an official sponsor of the U.S. track and field team. Dorothy Hamill, Robin Cousins, Ty Babylonia and Randy Gardner, and many more. The International Professional Figure Skating Championship on ABC's Wide World of Sports. Next.
International Skating, Wide World next. Right now, Steve Cook. Bobber away, left the 7. Working with a double up, shooting in the fourth frame, now marking with a spare and trailing by 21 pins. His opponent, if you just joined us, is Gary Skidmore, winner of 2 matches today, and a man who has strung 4. And this is the semifinal match with the winner going on to meet Mark Roth.
See Steve Cook putting some adhesive tape in his ball just like Gary Skidmore did in the last match. You have to keep that good feel. The bowlers like the thumb hole and finger holes fairly tight. They hold that ball very relaxed in the palm of their hand. Don't hold it with your fingers. Hold it with the palm of your hand. There's where you get the good wrist action. Cook trails by 21. He's had 2 solid 7s, 1 in the first and 1 in the fourth. Art would be all even.
When he needed it, Steve Cook. Steve, 7 years of pro, 7 titles. That strike coming in the 5th frame, and now shooting in the 5th is Gary Skidmore. 4 in a row. Got him, 5 in a row.
Boy, oh boy, what a smooth shot. Right through the ball. Look at this. All 10 in the pit. Not much hook. Solid strike.
Now he'll be shooting in the 6th frame, the halfway point. Down, 6 to go toward the true value. $50,000 for a perfect 300 game. Meanwhile, with a strike up, now shooting in the 6th frame, Steve Cook.
Don't count Steve Cook out. Sometimes you get fascinated by the score and forget that you're bowling against one of the toughest opponents on the tour. Steve Cook does not give in. He can cut that lead of Skidmore's down to 21 with a couple more strikes.
Leaving the 6 pin on the right lane.
Well, he hasn't had a good break yet, except in the 3rd frame where he tripped out a high hit. Solid 7 in the first, a double in the 2nd and 3rd, solid 7 again in the 4th strike, and then a little bit high. Could have carried the 6 pin. Cookie going at a 2:09 pace. He could have received a much better fate through 6 frames.
Overland Park, Kansas, one of the many beautiful suburbs of Kansas City. And sort of like St. Louis, often and long prejudged, but they are 2 cities unmatched with their dedication to many things. Great places to live.
Diversified economies, diversified topographies, and just diversified people, Chris. Steve Cook, if he could strike out, would end up with a 2:49 game. Skidmore going at a 2:50 pace. We still have a match.
All right. This is our pivotal semifinal match. Steve Cook and Gary Skidmore. Skidmore having won the first 2 matches. The winner of it will meet the great Mark Roth for the title. We'll be back.
Devlin, biggest game of the year, and you couldn't get tickets.
Welcome to Miller Town.
You didn't.
It's all yours and it's all mine. Bring your thirsty self right here. The rich, smooth taste of Miller beer is what you have in mind. Welcome to Miller Time.
Welcome to the rich, smooth taste of Miller High Life.
The best spark plug that Champion has ever made just got even better. Because Champion's new expanded Copper Plus spark plug line is now available for just about every domestic and imported car sold in America. From Chrysler to Renault, from Buick to Volkswagen and everything in between. Copper Plus, now ready to improve the performance of your car. Because no matter what you drive, nothing sparks like a Champion.
Cool and calm, Gary Skidmore of Albuquerque, New Mexico. Averaging 230, has 2 victories. And now, in the 7th frame, he has 6 strikes working. He has 7 working.
Now, wife Sherry approves, Chris, as he just saws that 5-pin over into that 7. 3-pound, 7-ounce wood. Just chopped it down, clipped it from the front. Watch this reaction. This is the key shot in the whole game, because if he strikes here, he's virtually has the game won, and he can concentrate on the big perfect shot, the big game.
Enough, and got them all. 8-4 to go.
Here's the shot that Steve Cook couldn't carry, the trip 6. Look at this. What a nice fellow. I tell you, he really shows his personality right there as he gets a great break. You have to empathize a little bit with Steve Cook. He's bowled one of the best games we've had in the championship round all year, and he's all but out of the match.
They just don't give up. No way Steve Cook will ever back off. There is no way. But what a situation, Bo. I know you've faced it. Others bowling you have faced it. When somebody's going as good as Skidmore, and you're not bowling poorly.
Actually, Chris, Steve Cook has out-bowled Gary Skidmore this game, but the breaks, the rub of the green, whatever you want to call it, has put Steve Cook in a position where he's got an outside chance to win. If he can strike here, and Skidmore would completely collapse in the 9th or 10th, but he must strike here on this ball to even have any chance.
Well, he's doing his job. Now with 8 strikes, and Larry Laub, our champion scorer, he loves to make those X's. I hope you make 4 more. I'm dying to give away that $50,000.
Larry Laub, our statistician, was the last man with 10 in a row, other than Jim Stepnich, who rolled the last perfect game in 1974. Laub did it at the Rolaids in St. Louis a few years back.
Here is the 9th frame shot. 3 to go. Stay cool.
Look at those eyes. A game of a lifetime. The 10th frame of a lifetime coming up for Gary Skidmore. He could immortalize himself in bowling annals. 10 years since anybody has rolled a perfect game, plus a nice check for $50,000 for 3 more strikes.
Well, you can see the 2-pin, the tension release from his wife's face and now from his own. Well, it's hard to come by. All right, continuing to mark. Gary Skidmore, the winner of the first 2 matches, and now with 2, could shoot at 279. He has won this one.
Ball just slid by Chris, but remember, he had been high and crossed over twice on that lane, and he trusted the ball, just didn't get it back for a strike.
So our final match, worth $20,000 to the winner, 11 to the loser, is coming up next. Gary Skidmore against Mark Roth.
Firestone announces our master plan for better car care. Master Care. It's the mastermind of Firestone, our engine diagnostic center that virtually eliminates repair guesswork. It's Firestone's Master Care mechanics. It's strict quality control. It's a warranty on parts and labor good nationwide. And that's just the beginning. Our master plan for better car care. Master Care by Firestone.
Sears National Hardware Sale. Now at half price, this 1-horsepower router, this Craftsman 3/8-inch variable speed reversible drill, or the 7 1/4-inch 2-horsepower circular saw. Save on these easy living paints, now at our lowest prices of the season. This Craftsman 16-gallon wet dry vac, just $99.99. You'll find more tough hardware at hard-to-beat prices right now at the National Hardware Sale.
There's more for your life at Sears.
Sunday, Bond gets back to basics. The Spy Who Loved Me.
I know Pacific Telephone is now Pacific Bell, but I don't know how the change will affect my business communication system.
Information and communication systems are a big part of our business. So I want to know who to go to for answers.
If you want answers, call Pacific Bell. All you have to do is make one call to get the answers you need. Even about phone products and services we don't handle.
For all your business needs, call the people you've always called first. Call Pacific Bell.
Its beauty isn't merely cosmetic. Cougar. Its very shape uses the air to help hug the road. Aircraft-inspired doors help eliminate wind noise. As you drive, a computer adjusts the engine, the 1984 Mercury Cougar. Even from a coldly rational perspective, it's beautiful. Mercury Cougar, a more enlightened approach.
Help match the job with the right person. Call VOA.
Gary Skidmore of Albuquerque, 24 strikes, 9 in the last game, and 3 victories, now moves against the tournament leader, Mark Roth, for the title. Bo?
The numbers for the tournament, Chris, a small field, 128 average to cash, 42nd place, 206, 210 to make the top 24. Dave Houston in there. Steve Neff, who's opening a new bowling center in Palmetto, Florida, finished 7th. Sam Zurich, my partner. Gary Dickinson going to defend his Open title. As you see some of the other players, Lightfoot, Wunderlich, Ballard up there in the top 24. The best international player, Monicelli in there, Gibson, Randy Johnson from St. Louis, Kent Wagner doing a nice job. Sam Macarone, Hook and Bob Hanley, Clayton Sagibo, the Hawaii's finest up there, fireballer Phil Ringener in 21st. Alan Grant, the steady guy from Colorado, Steve Lewis, and Mike Steinbeck, who will be going home for the U.S. Open, the BPAA U.S. Open in his home house, 24th place. And in 30th, Chris, the man who hasn't missed cashing yet, Rick Sajak, cashed $1,200.
Mark Roth with his last practice shot. Mark Roth, who has won 28 titles. He'll get one more before this game will get underway, and it's the final match. Mark Roth, who has won here 3 times, in 75, 77, and 78. His first pro win was here. His first 300 was here. So he loves King Louie lanes, Bo.
He gets 6 practice balls, Chris, and it's been almost 1 hour since he's practiced. So he is allowed 6. Gary Skidmore is allowed none on the championship pair. So now they're going for the title. Tough Gary Skidmore against bowling's second leading money winner of all times, Mark Roth.
And can he become the 3rd man to win 4 matches and a title? Lowe did it. Chamberlain did it. Skidmore's first shot. Oh. Well, this is the time you punt.
Well, as we said, in that 270 game, he was a bit confused on the left-hand lane. He cuts right through the heart, leaves the 4, 6, 7, 9. Chris, there's an outside chance to make this. He can either shoot for the 4-7 or try to slide the 6 into the 9 and bounce it off the 4-7 over in the left-hand channel. He's going for the right side. What a gamble.
A gamble causing an open frame in the very first of this championship match. 20 to the winner, 11 to the runner-up. Here's the replay.
And just misses by about a 1/4 of an inch. You just have to nick the 6-pin if you're going to do this and slide it over, as Mark Roth goes very quickly. He doesn't waste any time at all.
And a high hit leaving the 3-6 as he, too, kicks that ball return. There he is, 2nd appearance this year. Spring Lake Heights, New Jersey, 32 years old, America's #1 New York Ranger hockey fan. So it's a spare for Mark Roth, who in coming here, it's always like a homecoming at King Louie Lanes.
Watch Roth. He also kicks that ball return rack, but Roth usually kicks it after he releases the ball. Let's watch his foot. Oh, it hits it there just as he releases the ball. But look at that follow-through directly towards the target. Roth, a great spare shooter. He has a 4-pin lead, second frame.
And the player of the year 3 times, Mark Roth, on the left lane leaves the 610. 28 titles, second to Earl Anthony's 41.
Cuts right through the heart, breaks down the 6-7-10 split. And Roth, look down at the approach. Remember, it's been 1 hour since he bowled on this pair. He must make the adjustments. He's been high on both shots. He'll move to the left when he comes up in the 3rd and 4th frames.
Now, Gary Skidmore. If you just joined us, he won his first match over Bob Chamberlain, 238 to 206, then over Mark Fay, 223, 201, then over Steve Cook, 276 to 235. After an open frame, striking in the second, the championship match. Next week, the United States Open in the Chicago area.
Right in the pocket. Skidmore with no problem on the right-hand lane. That's the lane that doesn't hook very much. The left-hand lane's giving him problems. He hit light after having 9 in a row. He left the 2-pin. And then as he started this match, he tried to make adjustment for that 2-pin. And he went right through the heart. What he should do, Chris, is cut the difference in half and throw it real hard. He's a strong player.
All right. So after an open, coming back to double. Tension on his wife's face. Tension at home on the face of Mark's wife, Jackie, too. He liked that one. Very, very serious. When he gets it together, gets his tempo, he is tough.
Here's an important shot for Mark Roth. In the 2nd frame, he went high on this left-hand lane. And we've seen everybody struggle a little bit on the left-hand lane. The reason Skidmore made such a move winning 3 match is he's been able to stay solid on the right and intersperse a few strikes on the left. Let's see what kind of adjustment Roth makes to take a 12-pin lead.
Leaving the 2-4-5.
The same thing that's happened to all the players, Chris. He goes high, moves to the left, which is the normal move to make, sends the ball out. He actually threw a great shot. It doesn't bite, and it confuses the player. Now he has the 2-4-5. Watch Roth's technique at this spare. For all the young crankers at home, watch how Roth shoots spares. Straight ball right at it.
There's one of the better tips of any day from Bo Burton. Straight for it. So, this championship match is nearing the halfway point. The rest of it after this.
Working hard when the heat is on could mean perspiration odor. Right Guard antiperspirant helps stop wetness better than the leading spray, as it kills the bacteria that can cause perspiration odor.
Introducing new Gillette Foamy Gel. The gel that gives you more than any other gel. More lubricants. Better beard setup. More lubricants. Smooth takeoff. More lubricants. For the closeness and comfort you want in a shave, get new Gillette Foamy Gel. The gel that gives you more.
You're looking at Gary Skidmore, 3rd appearance on television this year. He's looking for his 3rd win in a career that spanned 8 years as a PBA member, only 4 as a touring pro. With the 3 victories now, he is facing the tournament leader, Mark Roth. 2 pins separating the pair. And with that strike, 12 pins.
Chris, what a great break. Skidmore with the wall shot, the head pin in the sideboard. Now look at the pin standing. The 4, 5, and 7. The head pin comes in and does the damage. He catches a turkey there. He takes an 8-pin lead. He's in the driver's seat for the first time in the match. And most important is that Skidmore is zeroed on the left-hand lane. Look at his favorite pair of shoes. Chris, if he wins 20 grand, he might be able to afford a new pair. Split wide open.
Remember, he strung 9 in his victory over Steve Cook. He had an open frame in the first, and now he's put together 4. Mark Roth, spare, spare, strike, spare, now shooting in the 5th frame, trailing by 18. He's got to start striking. Almost thrown off balance at the line, kicking that ball return.
Yes, he is.
See him wavering just a bit.
You've got it, partner. Watch, he's a little stiff-legged, just as you picked up. Now watch as he comes through, and he's in pretty good position, that high backswing. Now watch how his left leg stiffens up just as he's coming through it. He's off balance. If he had been underneath that ball a little better, he'd have carried out the head pin.
Really caught it that time, but he's accustomed to it.
Mark Roth, whose lifetime record in the championship round is 50 wins, 58 losses, and a lifetime average of .217. So if he wants to maintain that average, he's got to get going. Through 5 frames, he trails by 19.
And Mark hurrying just a bit, leaves the 4-7.
Mark Roth trying to make the adjustment on the left-hand lane, cuts right through the heart. Now what he did is he moved back inside where he had gone high in the second frame, and he just tried throwing it a little harder. He didn't throw it hard enough, and the ball didn't set in the pocket.
Seen a lot of terrific spare shooting today. A couple of splits converted, and a variety of leaves here, and 4-7 for Mark, and a 21-pin lead for Skidmore, but he can change that. His 4 in a row shooting in the 6th frame. Final game.
3rd time that Skidmore's bowled for the title. He was a tournament leader at the AC Delco and the tournament leader at the Meisterbrow. Was defeated in both matches. He has a chance to win his first title of the year.
5-bagger. Gary Skidmore. 29 years old.
Boy, is he disciplined and in great shape. Now, this is what hours and hours of practice show up. Under the pressure, Skidmore is able to keep his composure. Look at that arm swing come straight through the target, eyes on the target, giving the ball a little verbal rooting, and look at how assured he was of that shot. Now he's getting a re-rack. He really is in the driver's seat, but that left-hand lane is quite tricky. Could change the match very quickly.
Job. And this year we have seen 3 men in particular that have excelled. Nelson did it, Bob Chamberlain last week, and now Gary Skidmore. Leaving the 10-pin.
What a variety of styles and shots we've seen here in the last 2 games. We had powerful Steve Cook from the left side. We got the cranker Roth, who leaves a solid 10 on this shot. And we have the down and in player, the line ball player, Gary Skidmore. One player's playing the 2nd arrow, that's Skidmore. Ross playing the 3rd arrow, and Cook was playing the left, down the left channel.
All right. So, Bo, it seems this year anyway, it's better to start in 5th or 4th and go all the way than sitting and waiting and being a tournament leader.
I think there's, to reflect on that, Chris, is just the more experience that the players have. They've been bowling on television for years. Skidmore is very accustomed to television lights, so is Roth. But once they get rolling in this championship round, it's very difficult to stop that momentum.
And Mark probably says, finally, 78th time on television.
Watch Ross' adjustment. Watch the loft. He needs this loft to make the ball settle up on the lane. Now look at that, about 4 feet over the line. That cuts his hook down. Gets that sharp snap that he's accustomed to at the back end, but he keeps it in play.
become the leading money winner of the year. And he can, if he can get the $20,000 check. Right now, Bob Chamberlain leads, replacing Wayne Webb. But if Gary wins, he will be the money leader.
Now watch his reaction. This is the winning shot. He knows he's putting it away. He wanted to raise his hands, but he just went after it. Do you know that in 3+ games, Gary Skidmore has hit the pocket 30 times, Chris, and he has 29 strikes? As Sherry looks on, Sherry was quite a bowler for Slippery Rock State College in Pennsylvania, so she knows the score.
Another familiar name, about an hour from here, Haskell Indian Junior College, where I've done considerable work of it, enjoyed it, and Dr. Gipp, the president, is here today. They serve over 100 American Indian tribes boats, a junior college, and they love bowling, too.
I'm sure it's a worthy cause, Chris. Sherry Skidmore is just counting the money now. Gary's just finishing out the match.
Very appreciative audience of the performance today of Gary Skidmore of Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Trying to figure the score is simply this. Skidmore needs a mark. Convert this spare or a spare in the 10th, and Roth would still have to strike out to win. Well, to look forward, the best thing that can happen for Mark Roth is a 2:24 game right now. Skidmore going at a 2:43 pace. Anytime that Roth doesn't strike, it's all over.
Like right there, leaving the 610, and a bitter disappointment for this 32-year-old professional. 28 victories, second all-time in the number of titles, second to Earl Anthony.
Well, he just wasn't lined up, Chris, and it's so important. It's like reading a putt. No matter how well you putt, you cannot make the putts if you're not reading the line towards the hole.
All right, Gary Skidmore is the winner. His third PBA title, and a $20,000 smile for sure. We'll be back to meet the winner, but first we're going to take this pause. Stay tuned.
Our Ace Best Buys go a long, long way.
Like this Lufkin Unilock 25-foot power tape rule. Works with just a touch and has a cushioned return for longer life. A March Best Buy at $4.88.
The AstroTurf doormats help keep the outdoors outdoors. Another Best Buy at just $2.88.
So see your local helpful hardware man.
And woman for really big savings.
Ace Best Buys.
Ace is the place.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware man.
An hour from now, there'll be 50,000 fans here, eating, drinking, cheering, and groaning. Some of those fans will leave here not feeling so well. Whether it's heartburn, upset stomach, even diarrhea, they can all take one remarkable medicine for relief. Pepto-Bismol. As it coats, Pepto-Bismol relieves what's wrong, relieves it, then leaves a protective coating behind. Pepto-Bismol. For most common stomach discomforts, the one that coats is the only one you need.
Well, goodbye, good old Head and Shoulders. Gotta use new, improved Head and Shoulders. Come on, what makes this better than this?
Controls dandruff better than ever.
What's to improve? All right, it's richer. And it smells nice. Hey, really nice. Improved? It's great.
Hey, your hair looks gorgeous.
Yeah, well, always knew I'd like it better anyway.
New improved Head and Shoulders in regular and conditioning formulas.
Dorothy Hamill, Robin Cousins, Ty Babylonia and Randy Gardner, and many more. The International Professional Figure Skating Championship on ABC's Wide World of Sport. Next.
242. That is the score, along with 3 other victories for Gary Skidmore. What a day. Gary, and you weren't even going to come here.
You know, it's real funny. We had problems, my wife and I. Hi, sweetie. But the heater went out in our trailer last week in Toledo, and we had a blizzard-type condition, and we were freezing to death. And I said, "That's it. We got to get the heater fixed. We can't go through another week like this." And then Steve Neff asked me if I wanted to go to Wichita and do a thing for Big Brothers Big Sisters. And fortunate for me, I went to it. I did it. I'm here, and look what happened.
Charity pays off. $20,000, a beautiful trophy. Bob Phelan, president of King Louie. about to give the check.
Gary, congratulations on winning the 1984 King Louie Open. You bowled great all week, and we're real proud of you. Congratulations. Thank you very much, Bob. I'd like to say thank you to the people from King Louie because they have done things for the bowlers here now for, I believe it is 18 years. They've done a tremendous job in sponsoring the Professional Bowlers Tour, giving us a lot of avenues to make extra money, and I'd really like to say thank you to everybody from King Louie. As far as you fans, you've been great all week. Thank you for coming out. We really enjoyed having you here.
I wonder if Sherry has a word. Sherry?
I'm excited. I wish I was here all week to watch him bowl, but I'm glad I came in today.
Do you really give him tips on how to play this game?
I try to help him. A couple times he turned around and asked, what he was doing, and I just kind of agreed that he knew what he was doing wrong. He just went.
Do you have sign language?
It's kind of a mumble language.
Well, you didn't mumble on the lanes today. Congratulations again, Gary. A big third PBA win for you. There'll be many more.
Thanks, Chris. The 2 times that I've led tournaments, I felt I bowled decent the first time, bowled really well with 243 and lost. This time I shoot 242 and win. I guess if you keep shooting 240, you're going to win your times,
Well done. Okay, Gary Skidmore is the winner. The Professional Bowlers Tour has been brought to you by Pepto-Bismol. Pepto-Bismol coats, soothes, and relieves. Pepto-Bismol for most common stomach discomforts. And by Sears, where you'll find great values, great service, and a great selection. You'll find the things that make life worthwhile, because there's more for your life at Sears. Coming up next, ABC's Wide World of Sports, featuring the International Professional Figure Skating Championship from New York City. Travel arrangements made through and a promotional fee paid by United Airlines. You're not just flying, you're flying in the friendly skies. This has been an ABC